Hello, the internet. Matthew here, coming to you from the beautiful North Shore of Long Island. I'm actually standing in scenic and historic Cold Spring Harbor today. You can actually see a little bit of the town behind me there as the sun's going down over there. It's just an absolutely gorgeous spot that I found. So if you're ever up here, you definitely want to check it out. It's a great place. I want to thank you for tuning in, and of course want to carry right along from the last vlog. Today we're going to talk about the result of how much you give. What is the result? The answer will surprise you. You know that annoying guy you've seen on social media who's standing in his garage with his Lamborghini and all his books? Lately, I guess he's actually been getting known for his lectures in front of a big notepad with an oversized marker. You've probably seen his ads pop up on YouTube or Facebook or something and just kind of wrote him off as a scam artist. Honestly, I did for the longest time too, but that conversation that I had with the guru caused me to upend a lot of my presuppositions. So, after that conversation I had with him, I went home and deliberately watched the videos of Mr. Tai Lopez. My ADHD makes absorbing written material very difficult for me, so I often turn to YouTube when I want to learn something. And at that point I realized I had a lot to learn about money and wealth. But with so many supposed teachers online offering great counsel, I wasn't entirely sure where to turn, so I trusted my instincts and went with the person who seemed the most well-rounded. Now, Tai wasn't screaming at the camera, and he didn't really come off all slick and polished like. In fact, the more I watched his videos, the more out of place he seemed in his Hollywood Hills mansion. Here was a guy who was not that much older than me, who actually started out at a lower societal rung than I did, who had obviously worked tirelessly to get to where he was, had learned a lot of hard lessons along the way, and was now reaching back to help the people who were coming up behind him. What I found shocking at that point to me was actually how many more people like Tai there are in the world. So for about a week, I scrolled through Tai's videos and I learned a great deal, not just about money and business, but about history and about how the human mind worked. He quoted a lot of people, some I knew and some that I learned about through him. He constantly referred to the work of other great thinkers, and that was really beneficial for me because of the way my seemingly scattered mind works. Doesn't think in lists, but rather bounces between connecting points of data. In fact, the way my book had been structured was actually laid out very similarly to the way Tai lectured, so really I couldn't have picked a better starting point. I can honestly say that Tai Lopez woke my brain up out of the sleep that it had been forced into. And it was a great experience to start to learn from him, but after about a week or so, I did get curious about the list of suggested videos, so I started watching some of them. The first one that I clicked on was to an interview on a channel called London Real, where this man named Brian Rose would interview incredibly interesting people. And the first one that I opened was the interview he did with a man named Peter Sage. And if I can credit Tai for waking up my mind, I can credit Peter for opening my eyes. Peter Sage is a serial entrepreneur, which means he starts up companies, gets them to the point where they're successful, cashes out, and goes off and starts somewhere else from scratch, leaving a buoyant company, happy investors, and an employed staff in his wake. Most of the time. Peter is honest enough to admit he's failed on numerous occasions, but he's never let failure deter him from success. Peter has money and a really overall good track record, but it's more than that. It's his outlook on wealth and on life that has earned him the title the extreme entrepreneur. And not just his love of skydiving and running brutal foot races in inhospitable terrain. More than anything though, it was the way Peter explained what money actually is and how wealth is actually generated that had the greatest effect on me. And it wasn't just in that London Real video, but it was a consistent theme running throughout all the other lectures and interviews that I found of his online. For me though, it was the way Peter framed everything and said it so succinctly that really connected with my consciousness most effectively. The truth is that money is not a resource. It is not, as my teachers told me, something you get for completing tasks. It's an analog for the value that you create in this world. Wealth is not actually the result of how much you get. It's the result of how much you give. In my conversation with the spiritual man, I told him that I wasn't so much concerned that he was wrong about me becoming wealthy, but that he was right. I was afraid that I would become wealthy and lose myself to money, find myself one day locked up in a mansion, hoarding all my money and giving to charity once in a while to put on an appearance of generosity. You know what? When I said that, he actually laughed. I thought at first it was that he saw something in my sterling character that made the idea absurd. But later I realized it was because he understood the nature of wealth generation. I didn't at the time. I didn't understand that there was a whole dimension to the process of wealth generation. I was completely ignorant of it. And there was so much more to learn. I'll begin to cover more of that in the next vlog. Your assignment for this week is go down to the description below and you'll find the 3 TEDx talks for the 3 thought leaders that I mentioned, for Brian Rose, Peter Sage, and Tai Lopez. I want you to watch those videos. Now you can come back here and leave a comment below with your input. That'd be great. But more than anything, I want you to hear from these men in their own words and try to understand what they are genuinely trying to do, what's most important to them, what drives them. I think you'll be very pleasantly surprised. I'll be back next week with another vlog and another assignment. Please make sure you subscribe if you haven't already done so, and of course follow along on Instagram. And of course, check down in the description below for all the links to all the reference material from this vlog. And if you've got something out of this, please be sure to share it with others. For now, this is Matthew of Monster Health and Fitness signing off and reminding you that there is no portal to utopia. You're gonna have to take the long way around.